You're listening to B2B Tech Talk with Ingram Micro, the place to learn about new technology and technological advances before they become mainstream. This special edition 1 episode is sponsored by Cisco, taking your business a level up. Let's get into it.
Welcome back to B2B Tech Talk with Ingram Micro. I'm your guest host today, Logan Lyles with Sweetfish Media. We're actually recording on site here in Denver, Colorado at the Ingram Micro ONE event. And we're going to be talking about a big topic affecting all of us lately and our customers, digital transformation. And to cover that topic today, we've got Craig Cieplinski, the Operations Director for U.S. Distribution at Cisco. We've also got Peter Graber, the Executive Director of Cisco Business at Ingram Micro. Craig, Peter, how's it going today?
Awesome. Thanks for having us.
Going great. Thanks, Logan.
You guys enjoying the event so far?
Absolutely.
We are.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to kick it over to you guys. You know, there are a lot of different ways to define digital transformation. I would love for you guys to unpack that term from your perspective as we kick it off today.
So I can go first. I think, if you look at today, I think almost every company, including Ingram, is going through some sort of digital transformation. What that means is that companies are integrating technology into their business models to create efficiencies or dramatically improve the customer experience. So to me, it's all about staying ahead, preparing your business for the new and changing technologies, and embracing those technologies and using them to solve problems and or to create a better experience.
I love it. Peter. Craig?
Yeah, Peter, exactly. We look at it from a third platform perspective, right? When you're looking at those technologies, it's cloud, it's mobility, it's social business, big data, analytics, right? Organizations have to leverage the newer digital competencies to transform every step of their value chain to be successful in these days. It leads to the creation of new revenue streams for them. The elimination of inefficient, redundant processes is going to be critical, and shifting away from repetitive day-to-day tasks to be more strategic. It's going to be critical. For organizations to remain competitive in this quickly unfolding digital era and beyond, IT must embrace these digital transformations to be able to design the right infrastructure to achieve those goals that they have.
Yep, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about some specific examples of where, digital disruption happening at the intersection between people, business, and technology is kind of how I define it, where those things are happening. Can you guys speak to some examples of where that intersection is happening and the real world business results that are coming out of that?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I have a couple examples. I think the first one is a very simple consumer example that pertains to movie streaming. I think we all remember the days when you had to get in your car and drive to your local video store or Blockbuster with the hopes that they had the movie in stock that you wanted to see. Wait in line, having to cash out, maybe buy some snacks that you didn't need or didn't want because they're sitting there right in front of your face. Driving home, and then at that time, settling down and actually watching the movie, and then hopefully not forgetting to return it, the next day so you don't get additional fees.
Yeah.
And you look at today. Today, it's as simple as subscribing, clicking a button on your remote, and having the movies right there in front of you, whether it's Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, the list goes on and on.
Disney Plus now.
Disney Plus, yep. So how easy is that, right? So I think that's a really good example of digital transformation that affects, a big chunk of the population. I would say for Ingram, we've made investments in improving the digital experience for our partners. So we're using automation now to help our partners with the transaction, with direct connections into CCW. So now our partners have instant access to order status, to being able to create their own quotes, to turning that quote into an order. It has extremely enhanced the customer experience because it's taking the SLAs down from hours to minutes.
Right.
You think about the fact that a partner no longer has to contact their Ingram Micro sales rep anymore, either through a phone call or through an email. All that information now is available on their fingertips. It is creating a speed to market for them that they've never seen before, in addition to increased efficiencies internally for our partners.
Yeah, and the consumer example that you gave, I can see that, the turnaround of a quote, the same as, what we've seen in how soon I decide I want to rent a movie to the time that I'm watching a movie. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
yep.
Really great example. Craig?
Yeah, thanks, Logan. So, just an example for me. I go back to when I started in the industry, right? All of our meetings from a sales perspective were done in person, or by
Right.
phone call, right? You had to make a phone call, try and organize a call just by calling, getting a voicemail, leaving that. Now it's moved dramatically, right? To email, video on demand with a technology like WebEx. We look at the evolution of the cell phone as another example. Now that's a device that harnesses many applications that allow us to connect and communicate differently. And that's just in the last 10 to 12 years or so. Customers demand simplification in all of this, in the continuation of their digital transformation. And another example for me that hits home really close, I've got a son that's 3, right? And he literally knows how to use an iPad, an iPhone, as well as I do. And it really does give me that ability to connect with him when I'm on the road. So those technologies allow that digital transformation in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another example, going back to something I think is really important, is simplification. We followed this approach at Cisco, right? We acquired a company, Meraki, a couple of years ago. Their mantra and their direction that they went to is everything's simple, it's automated, it's intelligent and secure in the market, right? It's a new way of doing networking. It's ultimately leading to the best customer experience for our partners and their end customers. A critical way for us to doing it. Users are able to deploy, monitor, and configure the Meraki equipment, using a dashboard, web interface. Totally different than what Cisco had for years with command line interface, but completely different way to go about it, and it's transformed our business dramatically.
Yeah, and I would actually say, to add on to that, if you think about the opportunity in front of our partners, that Meraki has allowed them to scale tremendously, especially when you look at overhead. So no longer do they have to send out teams to assess networks, to do some simple installs, to make sure the network is secure. All that can be done remotely through the cloud now. So now they can take that overhead and focus it on other areas of their company. So at Ingram, we've realized this opportunity for our partners and really have embraced it. We've launched a program called Meraki Voyage earlier this year that allows us to enhance the Meraki practice for our partners, or in some cases help them build a practice. We offer them things like trainings and certifications, teach them how or teach them about the features and the actual value of the Meraki solution, which gives them a leg up in the market.
Yeah. There's a term that both of you have used in the conversation so far, and that's customer experience. And, the way that I look at it, it's IT leaders and business leaders are both responsible for the customer experience and ultimately, the customer's success. And so in order for them to be successful, making their customers successful, what are some of the key areas when you guys think about customer success and customer experience?
Well, I think customer success means a lot of different things, but at the end of the day, it comes down to value.
Yeah.
So, and what that means is your end customer realizing the perceived value of the solution that you recommended. And that's customer success right there. If they are realizing that value, it extends the sale to other opportunities beyond that. So at Ingram, customer success is part of the conversation. So we want to make sure our partners are enabled to sell based on business outcomes, so that they can understand the problem that the end customer is having and create a solution around solving that problem. And if they do that successfully, the sale actually begins after the sale, because they're the end user is realizing the value, and it's built that trust with the partner. So now they can increase the sale, add on different things, add their own professional services, and basically increase that opportunity.
Yeah, and as you look at more repeat business and annuity-based business, that trust becomes even more important, right?
Absolutely.
Peter hit it right on the head, right? As Cisco continues to move to become a software company, it is all about the after the sale, the initial sale. It is about that customer service that you're going to provide and the value you're going to provide that end customer that allows their outcome. And you can't just step away when you do make that initial sale, right? It is about the customer success. It's going to ensure that the outcome is a benefit to the customer and they see that value as they transform their business. When you're selling subscriptions and software, you have to ensure the customer's using it, right? And turning it on. That's the value in it. It's just like when we download an application to our iPhone, right? If you don't use it in the first week or so, you're going to forget that you actually did it, and you'll probably not renew it or just turn it off at that point. You have to stick with it. And that's what Cisco wants to do with our partners, is to ensure that customer success and that activation's there. it allows for a simple renewal at that point, but also allows for expansion of different offers inside of that customer.
Yeah.
So again, just to add on to that, Craig mentioned renewals. So the renewals discussion becomes a no-brainer if the partner is perceiving value of that solution, to the fact that they are so reliant on it that you don't even have to talk about renewals, that they're automatically going to do it. So just to touch on what we're doing at Ingram is we made investments and created a customer success team that's allowing us to work with our partners one-on-one to understand what their needs are to build that practice, where they need to go to take it. And these associates are have been specifically hired to do just that, is focus on the partner's customer experience, what they want to do, what their needs are, and go ahead and fulfill those needs.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are interchanging customer support these days with
Absolutely.
customer success.
Yep.
And customer experience. To me, customer experience is the whole thing, and support and customer success roll up to those. And as you put it, Peter, customer success leads to more sales.
Absolutely.
Right? Because that trust is there. The renewal is kind of a non-factor, a non-negotiable. It just happens.
Yeah, I think customer support is basically solving a problem. You think about the old customer support, like if you have to call for a warranty or something like that, you're calling customer support because you have a problem, you have an issue. Customer experience is a totally different definition and way of looking at business.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Craig, I know that Cisco has a lot of products and services, and bringing it back to our core topic today, can you speak to some of the areas that Cisco's focused on in helping customers with digital transformation?
The big thing for us is ensuring a balance between the perform part of their business right now, because again, we're making a significant shift right over to a software company. So a lot of our partners have designed their businesses in concert with the way that the selling motion is. So for the longest time, it was about taking down that purchase order, dropping the equipment off, getting it up and running a little bit, and then moving on to the next sale. Now it's a transition. It's a transformation over to a new selling model. So a lot of what we're designing is around helping our partners make that balanced transformation over to the other side to sell in that software world. Right? That is building a life cycle specialization, right? Putting investment and profitability dollars into those portions of the selling motion and allowing them to be profitable as they make those transitions over.
Absolutely. Well, we love on B2B Tech Talk here to ask our guests this common question, and both of you being experienced in the area, I would love to hear your thoughts on really what's coming next in technology, or where do you see technology moving in the next year or so, whether that's kind of reiterating some of the things we've talked about here or something new to the discussion. Peter, do you want to take this one first?
Absolutely. So to me, I think it's all about the connection and the speed at which data is transferred. So if you look at some of the advances with 5G and Wi-Fi 6, it's going to change the way of how we consume technology. So technology is the backbone of everything that makes our lives easier. So I'm excited to see what happens with AI as that continues to advance. I would look at things like you see self-driving cars now. What are the advances with that based on the connection speeds? You look at things like IoT and all the advances within IoT. I think it's an exciting time, but for me, it all starts with the connection, the speed of connection, the speed of how that data is transferred, because if you don't have that, a lot of these advances aren't going to happen.
Yeah, I was just talking with someone here at the Cisco booth about hardware and software, with one advancing, then got to catch up so that you can take advantage of the advances in both sides. So right. I love that. Peter, Craig, how about you?
Yeah, for me, it's this speed of change that's incredible. It's never been faster, and it's not going to slow down, no. Right? Lines are blurring dramatically. You've got the lines blurring between customers and their different businesses. What's really interesting is this digital transformation continues to happen in different industries. Companies are moving from being experts in that particular industry to being a technology company in a particular industry. Prime example of that's like a Domino's, right? They come from being a business that was just basically a pizza company to actually being a technology company and using the technology to understand their customers, understanding buying patterns, understanding who they're selling to, giving a simplified experience That's going to continue. And you're going to see companies that are going to be laggers in this that may find themselves out of those particular industries, unfortunately, because they're not keeping up with the technology to extend themselves out and be ahead of their competition. It's going to happen faster. Peter talked about AI. Over $30 billion annually is being invested in AI out of the Silicon Valley venture capital area. That's going to take off and be a very impactful piece of our business going forward in the next 12 to 18 months, I think.
That makes a lot of sense to me, Craig, because when you mention Domino's Pizza, I don't picture their garlicky crust. I picture their app and the tracker that they're known for these days. Yeah. Well, you guys have added a
So I will tell you this.
Yeah,
we're from Buffalo, so we don't know what Domino's is.
But
we know the app.
We go. Okay. So the lesson there is still applicable. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Craig, Peter, it was fantastic to talk to you guys. Thank you so much for making some time today.
No, Great. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Logan. Bye-bye.
Well, folks, that wraps up another episode of B2B Tech Talk. If you'd like to join the conversation, you can follow us at Ingram Tech Soul and use the hashtag B2B Tech Talk. Guys, if there's anyone listening to this that would like to reach out to you or learn a little bit more about what Cisco's going on, before we completely wrap up today, I want to give you guys a chance to let people know how they could reach out or some resources that you might want to point them to.
Well, I think a basic resource is salesconnect.cisco.com. And the easiest way to learn anything about Ingram Micro is to start with your Ingram Micro sales rep. And then it just goes from there. We'll find the answer for them. They'll get the appropriate people involved, and we'll get them the answer.
Yep. Great place to start, Peter. Again, if anybody does want to find us, we are on LinkedIn, right? Twitter.
Yep, absolutely.
So you can easily reach out to us that way and connect, and be more than happy to help out and guide them any way that they need.
I love it, guys. So, folks, you can check out those resources. You can follow us at Ingram Tech Soul. You can use that hashtag. Thank you so much for tuning in to B2B Tech Talk with Ingram Micro. If you're not already subscribed to the podcast, make sure you do in Apple Podcasts or whatever app you find yourself listening, although it won't be that Domino's app, right, guys?
You've been listening to B2B Tech Talk with Ingram Micro. This special edition 1 episode is sponsored by Cisco. B2B Tech Talk is a joint production by Sweetfish Media and Ingram Micro. Ingram Micro production handled by Laura Burton and Christine Fan. To not miss an episode, subscribe today in your favorite podcast player.